Keeping track of cute platforming heroes from the 8 and 16-bit eras can be a full-time job. From Bubsy to Sparkster to Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel, it's easy to lose track of all the furry friends from yesteryear. One side-scroller that doesn't get enough attention is Ardy Lightfoot, a delightful 2D platformer with long levels, cool bosses, and a surprisingly awesome story. To help celebrate this month's 25th anniversary, I want to take you through Ardy's one and only adventure. So turn back now if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to spoil the story and ending for Ardy Lightfoot on the Super NES. This is Game Over, the early years. Ardy Lightfoot is not your typical 16-bit hero. If you're expecting a smooth-talking mascot with an extreme attitude, then you've definitely come to the wrong place. The truth is, we don't even know what kind of animal he is. I mean, is he a cat, a fox, and don't even get me started on his little sidekick Peck, who seems to be a really fat bird or something. Look, you're just gonna have to accept that this episode is filled with a bunch of unanswered questions. The one thing that's clear is that Ardy and Peck find a strange tablet in an underground cave. The explorer decides to take his treasure to his human friend Nina's grandfather, who reveals that the tablet describes how the power of the rainbow has been divided into 7 pieces, each scattered to a different part of the world. It seems that one sunk to the bottom of the dark, cold water, another piece has been forgotten in a deserted town, and another disappeared in the outer seas. But instead of hearing the rest of the locations, the tablet reading is interrupted when Ardy realizes that the nearby town is on fire. It's time to spring into action. This is our first opportunity to see Ardy bounce around an Old West-style town and use Peck as a weapon. We eventually discover that a mole with a stylish spiky hat is behind all this chaos, so we chase him into the tunnels. This is an intense stage full of spike pits and buckets to ride. But don't worry about Peck, because he just kind of floats along behind you. All this leads to a minecart chase with the mole, followed by a harrowing boss fight. Nina will be happy to know that Ardy is safe, but wait, who's this guy? So instead of going straight home, Ardy decides to use the information he has to collect the rest of the missing pieces of the rainbow. Apparently the tablet said something about the rainbow granting a wish, so what does he have to lose? This sends Ardy and Peck through Lumberjack Forest, which spits him out near Catri's area. This is the point where they climb up a giant tree and wait, it's that guy again. Who is this guy and why does he keep helping us? And speaking of questions, why is Catri attacking us? What did we ever do to her? I mean, besides tricking her into getting punched in the face a bunch of times. Ardy wins, but Catri steals the next piece of the rainbow before our hero can nab it. I guess this won't be the last time we see her, or will it? Frustrated, Ardy continues his quest, but before he can find the next piece, he's swallowed up by one of those sandworms from Dune. The rainbow isn't down here in the monster's gut, so let's just move on to the ancient pyramids, where we end up chasing a mouse around the room for that missing green gem. We eventually catch the mouse, but suddenly the ceiling starts to drop as we try to escape. But don't worry, that helpful stranger is holding it up just long enough for Ardy to escape. We're still alive, but the fate of the stranger is in question. Guys, things don't look good for that mystery man. Okay, so remember when that tablet talked about the rainbow piece disappearing into the outer sea? I guess that's where we're headed next, because Ardy attempts to board a pirate ship for some high seas havoc. The shark-infested waters eventually lead to a battle with an owl who is no fan of stowaways. Thus winning the battle humbled the owl and his crew, leading to Ardy picking up another piece of the rainbow. Things are looking good. Now, while our heroes are out at sea, the evil forces are back on dry land coming up with a new dastardly plan. We're introduced to a well-dressed wolf who travels to Ardy's hometown in order to persuade a praying Nina to go with them. Grandpa objects, but the wolf knocks him out and takes Nina anyway. While this is going on, Ardy is busy fighting through the ruin islands, into the underground passage, and on to the castle. By this point, Ardy has most of the rainbow pieces, but he has no idea that his friend Nina has been kidnapped. To make matters worse, one of the only humans in this whole damn game is killed by a lightning bolt the moment Ardy shows up. This leads to an aggressively difficult fight against a guy who kinda looks like Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2. Guys, I'm serious, this is a crazy difficult fight. We eventually win, and here's what happens next. Okay, so there's just so much to unpack here. So yes, this is one of those endings where somebody dies and then is immediately resurrected because of a wish. When an old school game starts by saying that you're going to be granted a wish, this is almost always where it ends up. But let's not hold that against Ardy, because everything after that moment is genuinely awesome. I actually really like the idea of seeing our hero team up with his friends and former enemies to return those 7 rainbow pieces back to their hiding spots. This is a nice way to unwind and show what kind of guy Ardy really is. There's a lot of world building in this game, and I'm a big fan of the way they use it in this ending. What I don't like is how this game refuses to answer any questions. Not only are we still in the dark about whether Ardy is a fox or a cat, but we never actually find out who that mysterious man is supposed to be. I mean, the instruction manual tells us that his name is Don Jacoby, but who's that? Why is he helping our heroes? What's his deal? The game ends with a "to be continued" tag, so maybe those questions were meant to be explored in the sequel. Sadly, we never got a sequel, so we're just gonna have to try to figure out the answers for ourselves. That's a small price to pay for an awesome 2D platformer. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Game Over, the early years. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new episodes every Monday. Except for this week, when it was on Tuesday. So here's the question of the day. What are some of your favorite hidden treasures? I'm talking about those obscure games that you don't see enough people talking about. Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we have an extremely busy week ahead of us, including reviews of both Onikin and Autolus, as well as Unruly Heroes. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.